Hi, everybody. It's Miss Austin, and I'm going to be going over a few things today that are going to help you with lesson 11. Lesson 16. So we're jumping into solving quadratics, and they're going to be more complicated quadratics than we've seen in the past few weeks. And so we need to have some strategies or some tools in our toolbox. And the first one is going to be completing the square, turning the problem into something that looks like this. Okay. And so it's as if we're playing a trick on the problem. So you want to understand the technique. So we're going to watch this. So let's say you had x squared plus 22x, and you want to turn this into a problem that can be rewritten as x plus or minus something squared. And I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. So here's the process. So we make our box. We used to make this back in Unit 2. You take this first term and you put it in the top left box. You split the middle term directly in half. So that would be 11x and 11x. Now we record what would be on the outside to multiply to that. So x times x would make x squared. 11 times 11, x times 11 would make 11x in both cases. And so now, what will this bottom number become with all these other things here? Well, it'll become 11 times 11, which is 121. So if this was a 121, that would allow me to rewrite this quadratic like this: x plus 11 squared, because I want you to see where this is coming from. I have an x plus 11 right here. And then I have another one on the side. X plus 11 times x plus 11 multiplies to that. But since it's the same thing twice, I can just write it once with a squared like this. And that's going to become very useful when we're solving. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. You make your box. You put x squared in the top left. That's this first term. You split this middle term directly in half. And now you put what would be on the outside of the box. Let me erase. Sorry, this is in the way. Okay, now we record x times x would make x squared. X times negative 8 would make negative 8x. Now, if that's what was truly on the outside, what number would we create here? Negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64. Now, why would we want that? If that was the number 64, instead of writing x squared minus 16x plus 64, I could rewrite that as x minus 8 squared, because I have x minus 8 once here on the top, see it? And then I have another x minus 8 here on the side. And that's same thing twice, so I just write x minus 8 squared. And that's going to become very useful when we're solving quadratics, trying to figure out what number would make the quadratic equal 0. Okay, we're going to keep practicing. I would recommend recording some of these in the back of your book in the blank pages. This is the strategy the book assumes that you know. Okay, so we're going to put the x squared, oops, I guess we're writing this one. We're going to take this x squared and we're going to put it right here. We're going to split that middle term directly in half, so we get 4x and 4x. And we're going to write x Miss Austin's pen's going crazy. All right, what do we have here? We have x times x makes x squared. X times 4 makes 4x, and x times 4 makes 4x. That leaves 4 times 4 making 16. This would need to be a 16 to make this a perfect trinomial square. And if that was a 16, instead of writing this whole thing like this, instead of writing x squared plus 8x plus 16, I could rewrite it as x plus 4 squared, because there's two of these. that multiply to make the left-hand side. Now, some of you will always maybe want to use the box, and some of you might start noticing a shortcut. This number that goes right here, that's always the half, right? The half of that middle term. And whatever the half is, you square that number, and that's what goes in the blank, 16. There's no shame in making the box, though, either. All right, what would go here? X squared, cut this in half, negative 2x, negative 2x. That'll be x times x. That'd be negative 2, because x times negative 2 makes negative 2x. There's your other negative 2. So now what is this? Well, negative 2 times negative 2 makes positive 4. This would need to be a 4. If that was a 4, this quadratic could be rewritten as x minus 2 squared. And being able to write it in this form over here on the right is going to allow you to solve the quadratic. And that'll make more sense when we dive into that today. Now, life doesn't always work out to nice whole numbers, so we've got one here with that odd number in the middle. Just want to make sure you're prepared for that. You're going to split that guy in half. So that's negative 2.5, negative 2.5, x times negative 2.5 makes negative 2.5x, same over here. So now negative 2.5 times negative 2.5 makes a positive 6.25 in this bottom right-hand corner. That completes the square. And if that was a 6.25, I would be able to rewrite this quadratic as x minus 2.5 squared. Okay? This strategy is called completing the square. If you need to watch the video again, or if you want to watch it again and record a couple of these in the back of your book, I highly recommend it, especially for the days you have a quiz or for your homework. It's called completing the square. One more, and maybe let's see if we can do this one without the box, right? Whatever the half of this is, that's what goes here, because that's what's going to end up on the outside. And whatever the half is squared is what goes here. So 6 times 6 is 36. I can do it the long way. This is x squared. Cut 12 in half, you get 6 and 6. This is x times 6, x times 6. 6 times 6 makes 36. Okay. Next, we are going to start the activities in lesson 16. So the next video I would open is the video of 16.1.